Tonight, some patients in Corner Brook will make the move to a new hospital, but one family says their elderly mother is being left behind and out of the loop.
Very stressful in the forefront for the family, just trying to organize and get things together. I have no idea what the hospital has in mind for the type of care.
In just a few days, her mother will be moved from Western Memorial, but she doesn't know where. The MHA for Humber Bay of Islands says what's happening to seniors in his district is unacceptable.
We know that there is an overwhelming request for spaces here in the province, and that's why we're working as quickly as possible to get new spaces available and to attract high quality educators for these positions.
So much demand, a website crashed today when it was flooded by desperate parents. What the province is offering to entice more early childhood educators.
This is CBC Here and Now.
Good evening and welcome to Here and Now. The federal and provincial governments are promising some early childhood educators in this province will be getting medical benefits this coming fall. At an announcement in St. John's today, the two governments committed to $1.8 million in annual funding for the benefits program. Here and Now's Mark Quinn reports.
The Metro St. John's area has a very high demand for early childhood spaces.
Parents are scrambling to find a spot like this for their child. In fact, demand is so great, it crashed the website of a St. John's facility today when it began accepting online applications.
Certainly not something that's surprising to us. We know that there is an overwhelming request for spaces here in the province, and that's why we're working as quickly as possible to get new spaces available and to attract high quality educators for these positions. So we know that the need is there.
There are two problems contributing to that need: too few facilities and a shortage of early childhood educators. Today's announcement aims to address the second problem. It's a measure that's expected to recruit and retain more early childhood educators.
Our two governments are announcing $1.8 million to implement a new medical benefits program that will support employees working in regulated childcare services in the province.
Government officials estimate the province is short more than 600 early childhood educators. The details of the medical benefits haven't been worked out just yet, but the education minister says it's clear that early childhood educators were undervalued in the past.
We're at a really critical point now where we finally recognize the value of these educators. They seem to have been a profession that for some time in society was maybe not seen for the value that they bring to the early learning sector, to our communities, to our families. And I think the tide has shifted, and we now recognize that the early years of our children are the most formative.
And it represents real change.
In 2021, the federal and provincial governments promised to create about 6,000 $10 a day daycare spaces in Newfoundland and Labrador by 2026. Today, the provincial minister said they're on track to hit that target. Mark Quinn, CBC News, St. John's.
Well, Corner Brook's long-awaited new hospital is scheduled to open later this week, but for people with family members in the old hospital waiting for a bed in long-term care, the move is causing confusion and frustration. The CBC's Elizabeth Witten has that story.
Kim Sheehan says she doesn't know where her 83-year-old mother, Luella, will be on Sunday. Luella had a stroke in late January that led to a fall that broke a wrist and hip. She has been a patient at Western Memorial Regional Hospital ever since. Last week, hospital managers reached out to Sheehan to tell her that her mother wouldn't be making the trip to the new hospital. Instead, she was being transferred to Bay St. George, and for who knows how long.
I've been her life support, and not our family has been her life support to get her through these last few months. Because of the long-term care overflow in the hospital, the patients, like my mom, has basically just been lying in a bed staring at a wall.
She says this has been stressful for family members who are trying to figure out how their loved one will be cared for. Humber Bay of Islands MHA, Eddie Joyce, says the situation is unacceptable. He says this move will affect approximately 10 patients, some of whom have complex needs like dementia and mobility problems.
So you're going to move them away from the loved ones who's there on a daily basis, on a regular basis. It shouldn't happen. We got to find a better way to do this.
Joyce is calling on the Premier to halt these patients from being dispersed, keeping them at the old hospital while a solution is worked on. Sheehan says it has already been a stressful few months caring for her mother, and that was before this problem was added on top.
I have no comfort right now on what the plan is for Mom. There's been no comfort given to me as family or the rest of the family. It's just been a very cold-hearted decision made by government, and it's unfair, it's unjust, and I don't think they should be putting families through this, especially, you know, when you have family members that are sick.
A Newfoundland and Labrador Health Services spokesperson says they will be available for an interview tomorrow. Elizabeth Whitten, CBC News, St. John's.
Well, now to some politics. Lynn Paddock is the province's newest MHA after a resounding win in the Bayvert-Green Bay by-election. Paddock received 79% of the vote, and that put him well ahead of the second-place Liberal candidate Owen Burt. 56% of the eligible voters cast a ballot. Paddock caused controversy during the campaign when he said the province should recruit doctors from Germany and not India and Pakistan. He later apologized for those comments and says he doesn't believe it influenced voters. Now, Premier Andrew Furey says it's not the outcome he was hoping for, but that Bayvert-Green Bay is a PC stronghold. Meanwhile, the leader of the opposition says there's a reason the last two by-elections have resulted in a win for the PCs. Tony Wakeham told reporters today that the district is looking for change.
In the last 9 years, we've seen a healthcare system in crisis. We've seen the cost of living soar. We've seen our education system in crisis, where schools are now closed because they don't have any teachers. We have our fisheries that for 2 years in a row hasn't started on time because our government failed to get on with it and to help and to get that done. So I think when you put all of these cumulative things together, people of the province of Newfoundland and Labrador are saying, it's time. It's time we had a different direction. And that's a clear message that has been sent in the last two by-elections.
We have some work to do, and I'm intent on continuing to work with the people of the district to listen to them, to act on their voice, and to regain their trust and confidence. And in the next general election, there's some fantastic people there working really hard to make their community a better place, and we want to be a part of that. And we will be a part of it come the next election.
Well, in other news, RCMP female veterans and supporting members marched through downtown St. John's this afternoon to mark a historic anniversary. It was 50 years ago that the RCMP first began accepting applicants from women. That first group blazed a trail for thousands of female officers who followed.
So on May 23rd, 1974, so back when I was 2 years old, the RCMP started accepting applications for women, regular members of the RCMP. Prior to that, women weren't allowed to apply to the RCMP.
I was 21 years old and I worked in an office and I was not feeling fulfilled in my life. I wanted something with more adventure, where I could be outside, out traveling, helping people in the community and experiencing challenging things. It seemed to me when I read the article, it was exactly, I didn't even have to think twice, it was exactly what I was waiting for. Of course, when we went in the RCMP, there was only 32 of us all across Canada. And back then, of course, the culture was a lot different. We had to work hard every day to prove our worth. Now today, I mean, with the opportunities for women have just exceeded what we thought. I mean, I just look at a lot of these senior women now in management roles and supervisory roles, and like one of my troop mates was commissioner of the RCMP. So it's really come a long way.
So it's very emotional. So we have 3 amazing women from original Troop 17 who are here with us today. And just the mere fact that they're community members in Newfoundland and Labrador, and they're still here, they're still in the uniform, and still very proud to be members of the RCMP. And we have 3 additional women who were in the 2nd and the 3rd Troop for women in the RCMP. And it's just incredibly wonderful to see. Back then, they would have been segregated in their own troop as women, whereas now we are just immersed in every aspect of the RCMP. Doesn't matter rank, doesn't matter role, and we're there. And I wouldn't be in the position I am, as well as several other women, if it wasn't for the trails that those women blazed for us.
Oh, we finally saw a decent day across at least eastern portions of the island. It has not been great, but today that ridge of high pressure, nice warm temperatures as well. But we do have an area of low pressure just off to our west now that is bringing some showers already to portions of the west coast. But we've got some of this colder air sinking south across Labrador. Very different story this afternoon as far as temperatures are concerned. Down 15 degrees in Nain from where you were sitting yesterday. Anywhere from 6 to 9 degrees for most of Labrador. And on the other side of that, though, along the northeast coast, that's what happens when you see that wind shift. Anywhere from 7 to about 9 degrees warmer than where we were sitting yesterday. If we take a look at what's going on right now, we've got those showers working their way in now. And the headlines really over the next 24 to 36 hours are we're going to see some rain tonight continuing. Chance of thunderstorms as well in the mix for parts of the province tomorrow. And also some snow for Labrador. I'll get into all the details in a few minutes.
Thanks, Ashley. Well, it was a great day for some outdoor graduation photos. Memorial University began its convocation ceremonies for students in St. John's today.
I'd like for you to all join with me in one rousing round of applause for our graduates and a standing ovation for them.
Ceremonies are being held at the Arts and Culture Center all week. This morning, students in Bachelor of Arts programs received their diplomas. We caught up with some of them after they crossed the stage.
And what are you graduating for today?
BA in Sociology.
Congrats. And how are you feeling about that?
Excited.
How long did it take for you to finish your degree?
4 years.
Nice. And I bet it's been a long road.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
What's next for you?
I don't really know. I'll figure it out.
How are you feeling about your daughter?
Well, super proud. And this is a big accomplishment and the start of a big adventure. So whatever she does, I'm sure she'll do awesome.
Yeah.
I went to school for communications and politics. I did a double major.
And how are you feeling today?
Excited. Finally done. It took a long time, but it's finally done.
And how are you feeling? Proud of him, I'm sure.
Very proud, yes. It was an extra year for him to get here, so I think that makes it a little bit better.
And do you have any favorite memories from school to share?
Meeting her and graduating.
I loved it. A lot of it has been online for me because of the first 2 years for COVID, but I'm really happy that I've been able to be in class the past 2 years and meet my friends and my teachers, and it's awesome.
And what's next for you?
I'm hoping education in the fall, so we'll see.
So I did my Bachelor of Arts, double major in Psychology and Sociology.
How are you feeling today?
Excited. But it's not over for me. I got my master's to do this coming September, so got a long way to go.
Well, climate change is something many industries are now working into their business model. Memorial University's business faculty is offering a new course that will help graduates prepare for a changing world. Peter Cowan explains.
The world is changing. These students at Memorial University want to be ready to adapt. Many are doing their masters in business administration and know that planning for climate change isn't just good for the environment.
It also helps us to know how to incorporate climate actions or strategies in our business plan whenever we see ourselves in a corporate organization.
The new course is called Climate Change and Sustainable Employment Relations. It's created by John Peters, a professor at Memorial University. The downsides of climate change are often the focus, the stronger storms and the destruction. But he says there are business opportunities that people need to be ready for as well.
You're looking at millions of new jobs required across the economy, whether that's in energy, whether that's in new building and building construction, whether that's in transit, whether that's in new agriculture, whether that's in new manufacturing. So in all these kinds of areas, we have to think about the new kinds of technology, the new skills, the new technical capacities, as well as the new trades that we need to be able to meet those kinds of areas of economic growth.
For example, Europe's demand for green hydrogen is expected to lead to billions in investments in this province and lots of jobs. And it has future leaders thinking about how to wean off oil and gas in a way that's fair to workers.
As a society, and as a province especially, there's a transition coming away from oil and gas and those more carbon-intensive industries. We need to make sure that when we transition, that it's a just transition, so that all of our workers and our communities are included in that. And this course gives us sort of insights into that, lots of academic readings in it, but then also a lot of practical application.
Peters hopes the students will come away with the skills and insights to solve the complex problems facing this province and the world. Peter Cowan, CBC News, St. John's.
Well, leaders in hydrography are in St. John's this week for a national conference. Hydrography is the study of the Earth's surface and coastal areas. There are plenty of exhibitions and workshops related to the field at the conference. The CBC's Todd O'Brien was there earlier today.
We have everything from hardware, software, training, basically the full suite required in order to go on with hydrographic surveying.
And is there much interest here?
Absolutely. We've been very busy because it's exactly the nature of what we do. Hydrographic surveying, that's what this week is all about. So we have customers in every industry, so academia, government, private, customers like Hydro-Quebec or Newfoundland Hydro as well, doing head pond surveys or tail race surveys. We do coastal work as well, so a lot of municipalities, the whole gamut really.
Anything, it doesn't have to be ocean bottom, it can be the bottom of any
lake, any body of water.
And this is the hydro ball, which it's a ball.
So it's a ball. It was designed initially as a drift buoy, so Hydro-Quebec would drop it at the head of a river and it will record all of the way down. So it's recording. Underneath it is a sonar. You can see the sonar face, and inside, just under the top here is a GPS receiver, GNSS receiver, and the computer, everything is inside. And I just put a magnet to it to turn it on, and it will record. So it's very robust. So that one is designed for areas that are too shallow for a boat or too risky. You'll damage the boat propeller, or you'll damage the equipment, like the one that's in here. So this is really the one that can take a licking and continue to provide good quality hydrographic data.
Our customers are the one that use our geographic information systems, or GIS, and then they apply it to whatever their mission is, what they're trying to solve. So seabed mining would be one of the many applications that could be used for. So the companies that are doing that, the minerals exploration and mining, they can be using that to explore the seabed and identify where those resources might be.
Well, we've got some showers on the west coast of the island. Some of these are going to be pretty heavy tonight. Rainfall warnings in place along the south coast. I'll have all the details in a couple of minutes.
This weather update is brought to you by the Healthcare Foundation Home Lottery. The absolute final deadline is midnight Friday, June 7th. Order tickets now at hcfhomelottery.ca.
Ashley, I feel like today is the day we've all been waiting for here in the East with all the sunshine and warm temperatures. And I felt like the leaves were just stretching open today to take in all of those rays.
I completely agree. Yeah, it was a beautiful afternoon today. We reached a temperature for a good chunk of us in the teens this afternoon. Let's take a look at where we were sitting. So about 15 degrees is what we topped out officially at the airport, but if you were in the sun, certainly felt much warmer than that. Temperatures through Central, about 17, 18 degrees. Deer Lake was the hot spot at 19 today, and up across Labrador. These were your temperatures earlier today. They have certainly dropped dramatically up across Nain, down to 2 degrees right now. Still sitting into the teens across a good chunk of the island as well, 12 degrees in St. John's. But again, anywhere in onshore flow, those temperatures are cooler. So only 7 to 9 degrees along the south coast of the island. So definitely a different, as soon as you see those winds switch, we definitely see a change in those temperatures as well. Now, as far as the rain is concerned at the moment, we've got those showers working their way towards the west coast of the island. And along the southern portion of the island right now, you're going to see some heavier showers. We've got a lot of heavy showers in behind there, working their way across the maritime provinces at the moment. And a lot of this is tapping into a lot of moisture as well. So as we head through tonight, that will really be directed towards the southern areas of the island into tomorrow afternoon. Tomorrow morning and the afternoon, it'll head east. And we're still in that southerly flow right through the day on Wednesday and continuing into Thursday. So that means that the temperatures will generally continue as well. So tapping into that moisture means we're seeing some rainfall warnings, and that's the story from the Canagra Peninsula through to Port aux Basques. Also, wreck house wind warning in place at the moment. Those winds still gusting around 96 kilometers per hour right now in the wreck house area. We are seeing those gusts around 41 kilometers per hour in Stephenville, and as we head through tonight, we are going to see those winds ramp up, and really as we head into tomorrow, as this rain continues to work its way across the island. So expect heavy rain tonight, or periods of heavy rain tonight for most of the west coast, even southeastern portions of Labrador as well. Those rainfall warnings between 30 to 60 millimeters possible. Now that rain is going to head east through tomorrow morning with that potential through the afternoon for the Avalon. But we do have a thunderstorm risk tonight and into tomorrow for the west coast of the island and parts of Labrador as well. Now, as far as the temperatures are concerned tonight, we're looking at between 6 and 8 degrees for most of the island, a little warmer for the west coast. Labrador, you're looking at the chance of some snow tonight up across the Big Land, and mainly around 8 or 9 degrees for the rest of the island. Now, here's that snow I was talking about. So that's going to work its way south tomorrow. Most of the snow that's going to fall will fall in areas where no one lives, but we could pick up a couple centimeters for the northern portion of Labrador. Lab City, you could pick up a few centimeters as well. Now into tomorrow afternoon, this is when we're going to see that risk of some thunderstorms, particularly the Burin Peninsula, maybe even the Avalon as well. Likely not until the evening hours, though, but that rain will continue to work its way east, and again, could be heavy at times through the day. And we're going to continue to watch that potential for some snow. Central and southeastern portions of Labrador, you're going to hang on to the warmer temperatures, so the rain will stick around. But we're going to have to start to watch as we head through the overnight. We could see some ice pellets in the mix there, maybe even some snow for central portions of Labrador as well as we get into Thursday morning. Thursday will eventually clear out, though, across the island. Like I said, about 30 to 50 millimeters possible along the south coast tomorrow through tomorrow afternoon, and in some of the heavier rain, if you do happen to see some thunderstorms roll through, you may see upwards of 60 millimeters, but overall temperatures a tad cooler, 11 to 15 degrees. Across the board, though, southerly winds will be gusty, 50 to 60 kilometers per hour tomorrow. Could Could see some sun though for the west coast. Temperatures nice 20 to 22 degrees. Up across Labrador, you're looking at those chilly temperatures continuing. Again, 1, 2, 3 degrees for the north and west. Otherwise 8 to 17 degrees as you head towards the southeast. But again, it will be a rainy day for most of the Big Land. I'll have your long range forecast coming up a little later in the show.
Cod in the southern Gulf of St. Lawrence remains in dire jeopardy. That's according to the latest stock assessment released by the Canadian government. Scientists believe huge herds of gray seals are preventing any recovery for the species. Paul Withers reports from Halifax.
5 years ago, Fisheries and Oceans Canada issued a warning that extinction of this species in the Gulf was not just possible, it was probable. The first assessment since then has now been released.
We are not seeing any recovery of the spawning stock biomass of that stock. It is still experiencing really high levels of natural mortality, especially at the adult stage of the life of these cod.
He says between 60 and 70% of cod in the southern Gulf do not survive beyond age 5, are not around long enough to reproduce.
So the most likely cause of this increase in natural mortality is an increased predation by gray seals.
Cod were able to withstand large numbers of seals in the past, but that was before overfishing caused the population to collapse several decades ago. Seals are now preventing a recovery, even though recent surveys detected increased numbers of young cod.
We are seeing influxes of new fish that essentially die off before they reach their teenage years or their adult years. So it's very much that the cod population is at a low level and the seal predation is at a high level, and they're unable to get out of that situation.
Even with no fishing, long-term projections indicate cod in the southern Gulf will be on their way to commercial extinction within a matter of decades. That's when there are so few it's not worth trying to catch them. Paul Withers, CBC News, Halifax.
Okay, so that's the situation in the Gulf, but let's move now to more positive predictions for the Labrador East Newfoundland cod stock. The co-author of a new study in the Canadian Journal of Fisheries and Aquatic Sciences says this province's northern cod have returned to their historical migration patterns. The fishery scientist says that could have major implications for our provincial fishery.
People who were more on the doomsayer side of this maybe 10 or 20 years ago, saying that this stock is not capable of coming back to anything like it was. I mean, it probably would never come back to exactly what it was historically, but anything like it was. That's just been proven wrong. The stock can do it. The only thing is that, you know, we have to give it a chance. I'm not willing yet to throw in the towel on this stock.
Bonus.
A major makeover at a St. John's restaurant. Last week, we took you inside Stella's Brasserie on Rollins Cross. It was known as the Hungry Heart Cafe for over a decade. Now, even though the space and the menu have gotten a facelift, the business is still a social enterprise focusing on lifting up people who face barriers to employment and housing. I spoke with Stella's Circle CEO Laura Winters about the work they do.
Stella's Circle is a social justice organization that works in the areas of real homes, real help, and real work. And under that real work pillar, we operate social enterprises, and we are standing in one of them. So Stella's is the newest initiative of the Hungry Heart team, and folks might know the Hungry Heart from being here in Rollins Cross for many years. This is an exciting new initiative, and when we speak about social enterprise, I think folks typically understand that the funds that are received through these initiatives go right back into the organization, so right into our housing, our employment services, our support and help that we offer to folks in community. What they may not understand is that we also employ people who have barriers to employment. And so we know that work and employment can be a really important source of meaning for people in their lives, and we believe that everybody deserves access to that. So we provide opportunities through our own social enterprises here at Stella's Circle to offer employment to people facing barriers.
And when we talk about people with barriers, what does that mean?
It means that we all start in a different place in life, and so some folks are having challenges around mental health, addiction. We all know very well the housing crisis that exists in St. John's right now. There are structural issues where people do not have the same access to the things that we might enjoy around gaining access to employment, education. We also run an adult basic education program. And so we believe from a social justice lens that people deserve access that meets their needs. And so we work to reduce those barriers and operate services that support people where they're at and meet their needs.
Can you walk us through this transformation and why you chose to go this route?
Absolutely. So there was a couple of things that lined up at the same time. One was the new opportunity for a new space for Hungry Heart, which we'll be announcing in the near future. The second was a very generous offer from Susan Drover of Sam Design. Her team really took on this renovation and offered a huge amount of services and support to us at Stella's Circle to make this happen. So we're so grateful to them, both for their design skills. You can see how beautiful the room is, but also for their huge hearts. They came, they worked so very hard. We were also able to utilize our own social enterprises in this renovation as well. So our team at Property and Development and Home to Stay, kudos to them. They did so much hard work. Clean Star was in here cleaning before we opened. So it's really a labor of love, and we just wanted to capitalize on that opportunity that was there in front of us with Sam Design and their generosity. We just think they brought such beauty to this space, and what we really wanted was a community gathering place. That is what we do at Stella's Circle. We create community together, and so we wanted this to be a restaurant where folks felt like this is your neighborhood spot that you can come enjoy, and it's a point of access into the organization for people that might not otherwise have a touch point at Stella's Circle. So we invite folks to come in, enjoy some beautiful food. The food is absolutely phenomenal. I've had almost everything on the menu myself, I will say. And we want this to be a gathering community space. That's what we're all about. And so, yes, this is a restaurant, but it's also here for the folks that live in the neighborhood, for our supporters, for people that want to learn more about Stella's Circle.
What has the reaction been like so far from people who have come in?
I think it's been overwhelmingly positive. I know when our team came down and the staff that have come through from Stella's Circle, our jaws were on the floor. I mean, it is a beautiful transformation, and I think people that may not have come through the doors, you know, to have a scone at a cafe might come for an evening meal and come out and enjoy the food here. So we hope it draws more people in and that it creates a bit more liveliness in this part of the neighborhood. We operate affordable housing right in this very neighborhood. In fact, there's affordable housing just above us and across the street. So we want vibrancy in this neighborhood, and we want this to be a spot for folks to come, again, enjoy good food, good company, and just have community and gathering here.
Well, if you're planning on getting out into the garden to do some pruning, that window is closing fast. Pruning was the topic of the day on CBC Radio's The Signal today. The show is asking listeners to share some of their gardening photos and had a few pointers for pruning.
There, probably a year or 2 years ago, they opened a new school here, and they planted a pile of trees, and they lost a lot of them. I don't know, I think they just planted on them, I don't know if they just didn't know what they were doing. They planted them, or they planted them, they didn't take care of them. But I'll tell you now, my problem is every time I go by, I notice that had a lot of dead stuff on it this year from the winter, I guess. A lot of branches and stuff like that is just totally dead. And I was wondering, I was thinking that maybe it's a birch that is probably a zone 5 or 6 or something like that. We're in Gander, we're zone 4B, and I'm just wondering if the birch they put there just wasn't for our zone.
So if they brought a birch in, I mean, there's so much birch in Central. And there's not, unless you're getting into some really, really fancy ones, most of them do okay here. I would say the problem is, based on what you were saying, maybe with the way that they were planted. So a lot of the time with these like big trees or even just little ones, they in the nursery pot or in the ball and burlap, they're planted too deep. And then what happens is people plant them even deeper.
I tell people that all the time. The root flare should be at ground level.
Phrase of the day. I love it. Yeah, root flare, exactly. So I'm kind of curious if something's happening down below that's causing that dieback on the back. On the top. So I don't know, George, if like what your position with these trees are, but like you can prune off dead, damaged, and diseased anytime, and that's not going to be in your pruning budget, and that might help the tree.
I don't have anything to go to school, but every time I go by, it just kind of makes me sad. So I did actually prune a lot of them, cut out a lot of dead wood on them that I could reach.
Yeah, that's great. And I find birches, especially if they don't have a good start in life, they really are dramatic about it. They really show they really protest. And also I find that when you have like bad ice situation, because the branches are so thin, they can break up quite a bit. So it's possible too that something happened. I don't know what your winter was like, but that something happened over the winter that really caused a lot of damage too.
Well, Bobby Black started singing in 2004, but he just recently performed in Gander for the first time. The Nigerian pop musician says he moved to Canada because he liked the music scene, and he's confident his Afrobeat sound will resonate in his new home. He spoke with the CBC's Melissa Tobin about his musical journey.
I want to do music. I think I'm destined to be a star. I know that right from when I was young, back in secondary school, we sit at the back in school, then eating this decks and be singing in class. Then I know, I had this strong belief in me that with music, you're gonna be a top star. Coming to Canada is a big opportunity for me. It's something that I value so much because I know that once I'm here, my life is going to change for good. The idea is to work, save some money, go to studio, and record some songs because my genre of music is Afro pop, and I've been listening to some series of music from Newfoundland and Canada as a whole, and I say most artists don't do Afro music here. So what I need to do now is to look for a way to chip in Afro music in the kind of genre of music they sing here. And I know it's going to be possible. It is something that I know. I have the idea in my head. All I need to look for right now is just to find a very, very dope producer that can give me exactly what I want. I have the idea right here. I have the sound in my ear. My music is not a wayward kind of music. It's a music that changes lives. It's a music that touches your soul, that gives you belief, that inspires you, that makes you want to do more things, that makes you want to be great in life, you understand? So I will be so happy, and I will urge them to give me listening here. Just listen to Bobby Black, listen to my song, and follow me on Instagram for a daily activity, to check up on me and see what my life is like.
Well, a march in St. John's today paid tribute to some groundbreaking women who broke down barriers by being the first to sign up for the RCMP. Earlier in the show, we tagged along for that 50-year anniversary march through the downtown. Well, back in 1998, the RCMP traveled to Nain, where two young women from the community were chosen to join the force. We dipped into the Here and Now archives to bring you their story.
This is a big day for Emma Rose Murphy and Wilma Hay. With family and friends looking on, they're taking a huge step, joining the RCMP.
I'll read it once to both of you. I accept the offer of the Royal Canadian Mounted Police to participate in its cadet training program in accordance with...
Inspector Bernie House is in Nain to help these new recruits through the first step.
I would like to welcome you into the cadet program and wish you all success in the future.
I feel very proud that I'm picked, and I'm glad there are opportunities like this for Native people, because I know it's kind of hard, like we're living in isolated areas.
It's very, I don't know, it's good old feeling anyway, like you're high on air or something, although I never did drugs or anything, but like it makes you, like you're on top of the world, like good old feeling like that, so.
Inspector House says this program is a new direction for the RCMP.
We've gone to approach where we want local people. They understand the issues, they understand the culture, and in some places understand the language a lot better than we do. So that's the benefits of this program.
These two young women know it's going to be a long road. If they make it, they'll be a Mountie, just like Constable Anthony Anderson from Makovic on Labrador's north coast. It took him 2 tries and 4 years, but he went through this program and is now stationed in Nain.
people tend to, I wouldn't say respect them more, but they feel more comfortable talking to people of their own ethnic origin.
There are lots of people who want to become Mounties, who are better educated, who may think this is favoritism.
All I could say to them, I guess, is just keep on trying. You never know what'll happen. Because this is my second time now trying to. I tried when I was 18, and now this is my second time, and I finally got picked. All I can say is try your best, and see what the future brings you.
What we're trying to do through this program is to capture the group that we've missed throughout the years.
There's a lot of work ahead. These two cadets will spend 3 weeks in Regina being assessed by the RCMP. Then they'll be told what work they need to complete in school, just to write the exam to get into the RCMP.
For advice for these two girls, I'd say just work hard. There's going to be a lot of hard work, it's going to be ups and downs, but they'll get through it. I know they will.
Tony Dawson, CBC News, Nain.
For the first time in its history, the Ontario legislature has allowed the official use of a language other than English or French. New Democrat MPP Sol Mamakwa addressed the chamber in his language of OG Cree today, and it was translated and transcribed into the official record.
The history that has removed the children from our ways of life. Sometimes even soap was used to wash their mouth for speaking their Anshnemoan OG Cree language. They were punished for speaking their own language.
Mamakwa represented the community of Kingfisher Lake First Nation in northern Ontario. Family and friends turned out to watch the historic event. He says it's important because Indigenous people are losing their languages. Well, Pope Francis has apologized for using derogatory language about gay men. The Vatican released a statement saying he didn't mean to offend anyone. At a recent conference, the Pope reportedly said gay men shouldn't be allowed to enter the priesthood, and he used a highly offensive Italian slang term referring to gay men and gay male culture. It was a private meeting, but his comment has been widely reported. It's surprised many people because the Pope has often spoken about the need to be respectful. The Pope recently said priests should be allowed to bless same-sex couples in certain circumstances. Also, when asked about homosexuality early in his papacy, he responded by saying, quote, "Who am I to judge?" Okay, so it's time for the long-range forecast now, so we get to look ahead later in the week and skipping ahead to Thursday, right?
That's right, which may be the first time that St. John's reaches the 20-degree mark. So that, hopefully that happens.
That's something to look forward to.
It certainly is something to look forward to. Let's take a look at what the setup is to get us there. So we've got that cooler air a little bit on tomorrow. But that southerly flow sticks around as we head through the day on Thursday, and we should actually see the sun come out as well through the afternoon. So a lot warmer in the upper atmosphere, which should allow these temperatures really for most of the island to be up into the 20s. Different story, though, up across Labrador, still hanging on to some of that cooler air. And that means that snow is still in play as well through Thursday afternoon. Now, this will likely be wet snow for Lab West, but you could see some accumulation from this, and parts of central Labrador as well. As we head through the overnight, your temperatures are still going to be pretty chilly, only topping out around 5 degrees in Happy Valley Goose Bay. So through the overnight period, you may see some snow in the mix there as well, but really overall 4 to 8 degrees. But yes, much warmer across central and eastern areas of the island. 21, 22 degrees, certainly possible. Now, towards the southern areas of the island, this will be a little cooler than that. But even the west coast of the island, about 16 degrees through the day. For Corner Brook, 11 for St. Anthony, and the south coast looking between 14 and 17 degrees through the day. Now, the day will start nice for Friday, maybe just a few clouds, but the showers may linger for the southern areas of the island. Weather dramatically improving for Friday across a good chunk of the island. Through the afternoon, though, you'll see some rain maybe for the southern areas of the Big Land, but your temperatures are still going to stay chilly, anywhere from 4 to 6 degrees. But yes, clearing and much warmer temperatures for Lab West and North Coast, anywhere from 9 to 11 degrees. And then again, cooler for the west coast of the island, only down to 9 degrees through the day. This is when we'll see a chance of a few showers, but Grand Falls, Windsor, Gander, 10 to 12 degrees, and St. John's should hover around 15 for your Friday. Cooling down by Saturday, down back to 9 degrees with the chance of some rain. Sunday, at this point, looks beautiful. 18 degrees and some sunshine. We'll see if that holds true for the long range, but for now, that's what it's looking like. For Central, you're looking at your temperatures rebounding quite nicely on Sunday after a little bit of a cool down in Western Newfoundland as well. Up to 21 degrees for Sunday. So at least the end of the weekend looks decent. Some showers will move in for Eastern Labrador by that time frame, and Western Labrador looking at some showers as well. But yes, your temperatures much nicer. And we've been talking an awful lot about icebergs. There's 4 of them here.
Wow. So where is that?
Northern Peninsula.
Of course.
Yeah, that's where they all are. Jesse shared this great shot with us. And if you have any weather photos you'd like to share with us, send them to my Facebook page or email them to nlphotos@cbc.ca.
Oh, what a great shot. Yeah,
Love it.
A lot of people heading to the Northern Peninsula. It seems like the place to be.
That is
to
the
see
place to be.
The icebergs.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, well, that's it for us. Thank you so much for spending part of your evening with us.
Good night.